What's up, y'all? This is Josh coming at you from Scratch DJ Academy here in New York City. And today I'm going to show you how to prep your tracks for mix and master in Ableton. So what we're going to go over today is how to organize your tracks and put them into groups for the mixing and mastering stage of the audio recording process. This is probably the most important stage, and it's the stage that everybody's curious about because it makes your track sound radio ready and loud and clear and good when you're inside of a club or a car or headphones or whatever. So it's important to think of your tracks in three or four different parts, depending on how you want to look at it. And what that means is we always want to break things down into categories. So usually we want to have things like our lows, our mids, our highs, and then sometimes our lows can even be broken into two different pieces, which is our sub bass and our nasally bass type sounds, okay? So what I have here is I have a track that's just put together real quick that has a bunch of different pieces. And I'm going to show you how I kind of go about making them ready to kind of start balancing out and polishing them off, all right? So the importance of prepping your tracks for mix and master is to have them organized for when you send them off to a mixing engineer, or if you do it yourself, to make sure it saves you time, money, and lets the engineer kind of know the direction of the song you want to go. So for example, having certain synthesizers in certain groups, certain drums in certain groups, which we're gonna go over here in a second, all right? All right, so what I have here is I have my kick drum, some bass sounds here, some snares. I have a couple synthesizers and some hi-hats here, and we'll just do a quick little sample of what's going on here. All right, cool. As you can see, something that's very basic, not much going on, but it sounds kind of flat right now, all right? So the importance of breaking these up into groups is so when the engineer gets it, he can focus on specific parts of the song to kind of make it sound better, all right? And the biggest thing overall, like I said earlier, when I do this, it's also going to save the engineer time and overall save you money, okay? So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my synths together in a group. The reason I'm doing that and starting there is because they're a very mid-rangey sound. They're very nasally vocal sounding, that kind of thing. And they're going to be the piece that kind of drives the track forward, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. I'm going to select my two tracks here, just holding down Command. And we're doing 5 and 6 there. And then I'm going to do Command G, and that puts it into a group. All right, and a group kind of acts like its own auxiliary or bus channel for all engineers out there. All right, or you can do it this way. You can select them and also go to Edit and Group Tracks. All right, and that'll put them into the same category. Okay, so once we have those, and I'm going to go through. I'm going to do a couple more here. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and put my hi-hats and my snare here together. And even though that these are both kind of mid-range and high type sounds, I kind of put all my percussion into one group because I want it to mesh well. I want it to be one thing. And most mixing engineers are going to kind of keep those together anyways. The kicks and bass, though, I do keep as separate tracks. All right. So once we do that, that means now that we have these groups, all those different audio pieces are passing through those groups. Okay. It's also important to note that if you're using drum rack or if you're using some kind of other drum machine based program and you have all your drums together, you're going to want to refer to a prior lesson we did and make sure you're exporting each of those drums to its own audio track. So you want your kicks on your own track, your snare on your own track, that kind of thing, all right? So once you have those there, we're going to use the send and return tracks. Now, these are really important because these kind of bring everything together under each individual track. And what that means is, for example, a very common mistake that we kind of see is students and different people, younger producers, that kind of thing, they're putting tons of reverb on each individual channel, and we want to kind of refrain from that. I always try to use as least amount of reverb as possible because it's better on your CPU and it also makes your song sound less muddy, okay? So I'm going to route everything through each these send and return tracks. That way we can kind of have it as a separate thing, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my percussion here and we're going to route this to our return track A right here, okay? So we're going to send that to a return track A. And we're going to do that by going right here on the percussion group and just scrolling upward right here on this square, okay? So once we have that, we're going to change our input here, or I'm sorry, our output from going to the master to the sends only option. All right. So now what this is going to do, if we solo this, you can see we have this blue light right here in Ableton. This just shows that it's being sent to our return track right here. All right. And if we look at our return track, we have reverb. So I can kind of change that. All right. So this is an important step because usually this would be considered part of the mixing step, but this will also help you as a creative because reverb sometimes uses a creative thing. It'll prep it for the engineer to kind of know exactly the direction you were going with your reverb, whether there's atmospheric, just a little small amount, that kind of thing, okay? And then we could do the same thing with our synth group here. I'll just name this real quick. And we can move this to our return track B. Okay, same exact thing. And if we look at return track B here, we'll see there's delay on there. I'm actually going to remove that. And I'm just going to copy, just Command C here, copy our reverb and put it on B. All right. Now if we solo this, you can see we got our blue light here and our reverb going on right here as well on our return track B. All right. So that's been how to set up your tracks for pre-mix and master in Ableton. Remember, it's important to have all of your drums separated as individual audio tracks, kicks, snares, bass, hi-hats, those types of things. And you want to make sure that you're grouping things by category. For example, synths, drums, that kind of thing. Okay? This will also save you money, time, and keep some creative control over the mixing process when you send it away to another engineer to take care of it. All right? This has been Josh at Scratch DJ Academy here in New York City. Thanks for tuning in.